Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cowboys and Cattle. In our last episode, Lou successfully brought Tide back to the safe house after catching him near an abandoned building. The FBI agents had been arguing and panicking about their mission being leaked when Lou knocked with Ty beside her. Everyone was shocked and relieved that Lou had managed to convince him to return. Ty demanded explanations, and Agent Morrison tried to explain they'd extracted him from criminals at Silver Creek Ranch who'd erased his memory. Ty asked the devastating question, why couldn't they have done this normally without kidnapping him? Agent Morrison revealed Ty is really Ty Borden, who disappeared 4 years ago and has a family who thinks he's dead. T became increasingly frustrated with evasions and half-answers. He turned to Lou, saying she feels familiar, that her voice triggers something deep inside him. The episode ended with Ty's desperate pleading question hanging in the air. Who are you? What's your relation to me? Lou stood unable to answer without permission, while Ty begged for one solid piece of truth about his own life. If you've been devastated by Ty's struggle to understand his identity, please hit that like button and subscribe. Today's episode continues that unbearable moment of tension. Lou faces an impossible choice: follow protocol and continue protecting Ty with carefully managed information, or give him the truth he's begging for regardless of the psychological risks. The decision Lou makes will change everything. This is episode 59, and Ty Borden is about to see the faces of the family he can't remember. Elkridge Safe House. Lou stood frozen, Ty's desperate question echoing in her mind. Who are you to me? His face showed such raw need for truth, such desperate hope that she could give him one solid answer in a world of confusing half-truths. Behind Ty, Agent Morrison's expression was carefully neutral, but Lou could read the warning in her eyes. Don't tell him too much. Don't overwhelm him. Follow the protocols for memory recovery. Let specialists guide the revelation. But those protocols had already failed. They'd kidnapped Ty, terrified him, made him run. The careful, professional approach had produced nothing but trauma and confusion. Maybe it was time for a different approach. Maybe it was time for truth, regardless of the risks. Lou took a deep breath and glanced one last time at Agent Morrison. The agent's face showed concern, but also resignation. She knew Lou was about to ignore her guidance, and there was nothing she could do to stop it.
Ty, I'm going to tell you. You deserve to know.
Agent Morrison stepped forward slightly, her voice cautious. Lou, we should discuss this first. There are protocols.
I know there are protocols. I know there are reasons to be careful. But Ty is standing here begging for one piece of truth, and I'm going to give it to him.
She turned back to Ty, whose eyes were fixed on her face with desperate intensity.
My name is Lou Fleming, and I'm your sister-in-law.
The words landed like physical blows. Ty's eyes widened, his body going very still as he processed what Lou had just said.
Sister-in-law. That means…
It means you married my sister. Her name is Amy. You've been part of our family since you were 17 years old. I've known you for over a decade, Ty. I've watched you grow up, watched you fall in love with Amy, watched you become a husband and father. I've been there for so many moments of your life.
T's legs seemed to weaken slightly. He reached for the back of the couch to steady himself, his breathing becoming rapid and shallow.
You've known me since I was 17? That's more than half my life. And I don't remember any of it. I don't remember you, I don't remember her. I don't remember having a life before 6 months ago.
I know, and I can't imagine how terrifying that is. But Ty, I want you to understand something important. Even though you don't remember, you're still the same person. You're still kind and talented and good with horses. You're still you, even without the memories.
Ty shook his head, his voice breaking.
How can I be the same person if I don't remember being that person? How can I be a husband and father when I have no memory of the people I supposedly love?
Lou moved closer, her own emotions threatening to overwhelm her.
I know it feels impossible, but Ty, there's still hope. Memory recovery is possible. It takes time and help from specialists, but people do recover from this kind of trauma. You could remember Amy and Lyndy again.
Lyndy, that's my daughter? The child I dream about sometimes?
Yes, Lyndy is your daughter. She's 9 years old now. She was 4 when you disappeared. She barely remembers you, but Amy has kept your memory alive for her. Pictures and stories and videos of you together.
T's face showed overwhelming emotion. Grief for the life he'd lost, fear about the future. Desperate longing for something he couldn't remember. Agent Walsh, standing near the kitchen, looked like he wanted to intervene but didn't know how.
Can I see them? Pictures, I mean, of Amy and Lyndy, of my family.
The request was simple but loaded with danger. Visual triggers could be powerful. Seeing faces of people he'd loved might unlock memories. But it could also cause psychological distress, confusion, or even physical reactions if his conditioned mind fought against the truth. Lou looked at Agent Morrison, silently asking permission. Agent Morrison's expression showed deep concern. Lou, we should wait. We should have memory specialists present when Ty sees photos of his family. Visual triggers can cause unexpected reactions.
He has a right to see his own family. He has a right to know what they look like.
I understand that, but we need to be careful. T's memory wasn't just erased, it was deliberately suppressed through conditioning. Forcing confrontation with suppressed memories can cause psychological and even physical distress. T turned to Agent Morrison, his voice showing barely controlled desperation.
I'm standing right here. You're talking about me like I'm not in the room. And I'm asking, please, to see pictures of people who are supposedly my wife and daughter. That's not an unreasonable request. That's basic human decency.
Agent Morrison looked torn. She understood Ty's perspective, understood his need to see his family, but she also understood the medical risks of pushing too hard too fast. Before she could respond, Lou had already made her decision. She pulled out her phone, her hands shaking slightly as she unlocked it and opened her photo gallery.
I'm showing him the pictures. He deserves to see his family.
Lou, I'm advising against this. We should wait for...
I've waited long enough. Ty's waited long enough. Amy and Lyndy have been waiting for 4 years. No more waiting.
She scrolled through her photos, looking for the right ones. Not recent photos that might be too jarring, but photos from before Ty disappeared. Photos that showed him with Amy and Lyndy, happy and whole and unaware of the nightmare that was coming. She found one taken at Heartland about 6 months before Ty's disappearance. Ty and Amy standing together near the barn, Ty's arm around Amy's shoulders, both of them smiling at the camera. Lyndy was in front of them, held up in Ty's arms, grinning with a missing front tooth. It was perfect, captured everything about who Ty had been: the loving husband, the devoted father, the man who belonged at Heartland. Lou turned the phone toward Ty, her hand trembling.
This is Amy, your wife. And this is Lyndy, your daughter. This was taken about 5 years ago, 6 months before you disappeared.
Ty took the phone from Lou's hand, his fingers shaking as he held it. He stared at the photo, his eyes moving from face to face. The blonde woman with the warm smile, the little girl with the gap-toothed grin, and himself younger and happier, completely unrecognizable to his current self. The room was completely silent. Everyone watched Ty's face, looking for any sign of recognition, any indication that the photo was triggering memories. For a long moment, Ty just stared. His expression was unreadable, his breathing shallow. Then his face began to change, pain creeping across his features, his eyes squinting as if the image on the screen was causing physical discomfort.
I don't remember them. I'm looking right at them, and I feel nothing. No recognition, no familiarity, nothing.
His voice was anguished, devastated by his own lack of emotional response. Lou's heart broke hearing the pain in his words.
That's okay. That's normal given what was done to you. Just keep looking. Sometimes memories take time to surface.
Ty continued staring at the photo, and Lou could see him trying desperately to remember, trying to force his mind to recognize the faces, to feel something, to connect with the family he'd lost.
The woman, Amy, she's beautiful, and she looks kind. And the little girl looks happy. They both look happy. And I'm smiling in this picture. I look happy too.
You were happy. You loved them so much, Ty. You were an amazing husband and father. This picture shows who you really are.
But I don't feel it. I don't feel any connection to these people. It's like looking at strangers. Strangers who happen to share my face.
He kept staring at the photo, his expression becoming more strained. Lou could see his jaw clenching, his eyes narrowing with concentration as he tried to push past the barriers in his mind. Ty, maybe you should take a break. You don't need to force...
No, I need to remember. I need to feel something. These are my wife and daughter. How can I look at them and feel nothing?
His voice was rising with frustration and desperation. Agent Morrison moved closer, her medical training alerting her to potential danger. Ty, forcing memories is not the way memory recovery works. You need to let them come naturally, with professional guidance. Trying to push through psychological barriers can cause...
Can cause what? Can make it worse. How could it possibly be worse than looking at my own family and feeling absolutely nothing?
He was almost shouting now, his whole body tense with the effort of trying to remember. He zoomed in on Amy's face, studying every detail, desperately searching for recognition that wouldn't come. Then something shifted in his expression. A flicker of pain or recognition, or both. His eyes widened slightly, his breathing becoming even more rapid.
Wait, her eyes. Something about her eyes. I've seen those eyes before. In my dreams, the woman's face I keep seeing, it's her. It's Amy.
Yes, Ty, that's right. You've been dreaming about her. Your subconscious remembers even when your conscious mind doesn't.
His hands were shaking now, holding the phone so tightly his knuckles were white. He zoomed in on Lyndy's face next, studying her features with the same desperate intensity.
And the little girl. I've dreamed about a child laughing, running through fields, calling for someone. Was she calling for me? Was Lyndy calling for her father?
The words came out choked with emotion. Agent Morrison was watching Ty carefully now, clearly concerned about his physical state. His face was flushed, sweat forming on his forehead, despite the cool temperature in the room. Ty, I need you to put the phone down now. You're putting too much stress on your neurological system. The conditioning that was used to suppress your memories creates barriers that shouldn't be pushed too hard too fast.
I don't care about barriers. These are my family and I need to remember them.
He was almost yelling now, his whole body trembling with effort. Lola could see him fighting against something inside his own mind. The memory erasure conditioning battling against his desperate need to remember.
Ty, please. Agent Morrison is right. You need to slow down.
I can't slow down. I'm looking at my wife and daughter, and I feel like I'm this close to remembering.
His voice broke on the last word. He zoomed back out on the photo, looking at all three figures together, the happy family frozen in time before everything went wrong. And then his face contorted with sudden sharp pain. His free hand went to his head, clutching his temple as if something inside his skull was causing physical agony.
My head, it hurts. Why does my head hurt so much?
Agent Morrison moved quickly toward him. You're forcing neural pathways that have been deliberately blocked. That's causing physical pain. Tid, give me the phone. You need to stop looking at the photos.
No. I'm so close. I can feel it. I can feel something trying to break through.
He kept staring at the photo even as his face showed increasing distress. His breathing was coming in gasps now, his body shaking. Agent Walsh moved closer, ready to catch him if he fell. Ty, you're having a physical reaction to the memory suppression. This is dangerous. You need to stop. But Ty wasn't listening. He was completely focused on the photo, his eyes moving frantically between Amy's face and Lyndy's face and his own younger, happier face, trying to find the connection, trying to break through the walls in his mind.
Amy. Her name is Amy. She's my wife. I married her. I love her. I have to love her. Why can't I remember loving her?
Tears were streaming down his face now, mixing with the sweat. His whole body was trembling violently. And then Lou saw it. A thin trickle of blood coming from Ty's left nostril.
T, you're bleeding.
Agent Morrison immediately tried to take the phone from Ty's hand, but he held on tightly, refusing to let go of the image of his family. Ty, you're having a nosebleed from the neural stress. You need to stop immediately. This is medically dangerous. The blood was flowing more steadily now, dripping onto his shirt, but Ty seemed barely aware of it, still staring at the photo with desperate intensity.
I know them. Somewhere inside me. I know them. I can feel it. Just a little more. Just a little more, and I'll remember.
His voice was becoming slurred, his words running together. His eyes were unfocused now, no longer really seeing the photo, but staring through it, reaching for memories that remained tantalizingly out of reach. And then so quietly that Lou almost didn't hear it, Ty whispered a single word.
Amy.
The way he said it, not as information or fact, but as recognition, as memory, as love. Just that one word whispered like a prayer, like coming home.
Ty, did you just…
But before Lou could finish the sentence, Ty's eyes rolled back in his head. His body went completely limp, the phone dropping from his hand as he collapsed forward.
T.I.
Lou lunged toward him, but Agent Walsh was faster. He caught Ty before he hit the floor, lowering him carefully to the ground as Agent Morrison dropped to her knees beside them, immediately checking Ty's vital signs. He's unconscious. Pulse is rapid but steady. Breathing is shallow. Chen, call for medical backup immediately. Agent Chen was already on her phone, calling for an ambulance. Lou knelt beside Ty's unconscious form, her hands shaking as she looked at his face. Pale, blood still trickling from his nose, his expression peaceful now that the desperate struggle had ended.
Is he going to be okay? Please tell me he's going to be okay.
I don't know. Forcing confrontation with suppressed memories can cause neurological stress, combined with the psychological trauma of seeing his family without being able to remember them. His system just overloaded. We need to get him to a hospital immediately. Agent Walsh had grabbed towels from the kitchen, using them to try to stop Ty's nosebleed. The blood was already soaking through, stark red against the white fabric. How long until the ambulance arrives? They're estimating 12 minutes, given our location. They're sending a unit equipped for neurological emergencies. Lou looked down at Ty's unconscious face, tears streaming down her own cheeks. She'd made a choice to show him the photos, had ignored Agent Morrison's warnings, had prioritized Ty's right to see his family over the medical cautions about forcing memory recovery. And now Ty was unconscious, bleeding, possibly seriously injured because of her decision. Lou, this is not your fault. Kikera made the choice to keep looking, made the choice to push himself. You didn't force this.
I showed him the photos. You told me to wait and I showed them anyway. If something happens to him, if he's permanently hurt because I couldn't wait for specialists.
Lou, stop. Ty had a right to see his family. You gave him what he asked for. What happened next was the result of memory suppression conditioning, not your decision to show him photos. But Lou couldn't stop the guilt and fear. She gently took Ty's hand, holding it as she had when he'd first joined their family all those years ago. Back then, he'd been a scared teenager looking for belonging. Now he was a scared adult looking for his identity. And in both cases, Lou had tried to help him, had tried to give him what he needed. She just hoped this time her help hadn't hurt him beyond repair. Agent Morrison continued monitoring Ty's vital signs, her professional demeanor masking obvious concern. His pulse is stabilizing. Breathing is improving slightly. But he needs a full neurological workup. Forcing through memory suppression barriers can cause brain injury. We won't know the extent of the damage until doctors can assess him. The word damage hit Lou like a physical blow. Permanent damage, because she'd shown him photos of his family. Outside, they could hear sirens approaching. The ambulance arriving to transport Ty to a hospital, where specialists could determine whether he'd hurt himself permanently in his desperate attempt to remember. Lou looked at Lou's phone lying on the floor where Ty had dropped it. The screen was still lit, still showing the photo of Ty with Amy and Lyndy. The happy family frozen in time, unaware that in just a few months, that happiness would be destroyed. And now, years later, Ty had seen that photo, had looked at his wife and daughter, had tried desperately to remember them, and had whispered Amy's name just before collapsing. The episode ended on Ty's unconscious face, blood still trickling from his nose despite Agent Walsh's efforts to stop it. Around him, FBI agents worked frantically. Agent Morrison monitoring vitals, Agent Chen coordinating with medical services, Agent Walsh maintaining pressure on the bleeding, Lou holding Ty's hand and crying. The photo still visible on Lou's phone screen showing what Ty had fought so hard to remember. The sirens growing louder outside as the ambulance approached. And one question hanging over everything. Had Ty's desperate attempt to remember caused permanent neurological damage, or had that whispered name, Amy, been a breakthrough that would lead to recovery? No one knew. All they could do was wait for the ambulance, wait for doctors, wait to learn whether Ty Borden had hurt himself beyond repair in his struggle to reclaim his identity. Lou sat holding his hand, remembering the teenage boy who'd first come to Heartland, remembering the young man who'd fallen in love with her sister, remembering the devoted father who'd played with Lyndy every chance he got, and looking at the unconscious man on the floor, pale, bleeding, broken, wondering if any of that person still existed inside this traumatized shell. The ambulance pulled up outside. Paramedics rushed in with equipment, and Ty remained unconscious, his last conscious word hanging in the air like a prayer or a curse. Amy. That concludes today's episode. Lou made the decision to reveal she's Ty's sister-in-law, has known him since he was 17. Ty couldn't remember, but part of him wanted to believe her. He asked for pictures of his wife and daughter. Lou showed him photos, despite Agent Morrison's warnings. Upon seeing Amy and Lyndy's faces, Ty tried desperately to force memories to return. His head started hurting from the mental strain. Ty's nose began bleeding from neurological stress. He whispered, Amy, recognizing her name for the first time. Then his eyes rolled back and he collapsed, unconscious. FBI agents rushed to help as Lou called for an ambulance. The episode ended with Ty unconscious and bleeding, no one knowing if his desperate attempt to remember caused permanent brain damage. Join us next time to see if Ty survives this devastating reaction. If this episode shocked you, please like and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cowboys and Cattle.